because he said no, I'd be stuck because it's the only tour I can do. Now, my name is Paul McRae. I do come from Edinburgh, so hopefully I'm the right person to tell you a wee bit of history about our ancient castle here. Now, normally, of course, the first question we're always asked about the castle is, when was it first built? Well, the oldest building surviving is 900 years old. It's a little church, a little chapel. But the first buildings here were almost 3,000 years ago. We only discovered this in 1991 when they dug up this whole area, and the archaeologists came in from around the world and they dug down as far as they could to hit the volcanic rock. And they discovered so many artefacts that says without a doubt people have lived up here for almost 3,000 years. But it would not have been a stone castle 3,000 years ago. They did not build really in stone castles at that time. They did in some parts of Scotland, but not here. The original fortress would have been a little wooden wall, and inside were some really simple huts and a wee hall for which is slightly bigger, and that's where the local chief lived, the local head man. Now, about 1,000 years ago, the Scottish king takes over this area, and he needs a good castle to keep the local people in control. And he looks up here on the rock and he goes, that old village up there, that'll make a perfect spot for my castle. So he goes along and he very nicely asks each villager if they would mind moving out of their house while he knocked it down and built his castle there. No, he didn't. He went along and said, "Get out, that's how I'm building my castle. You know, go and live somewhere else." So the first kind of stone buildings were about 1,000 years ago. That's why the oldest surviving part is about 900 years, because that's when they first started building properly in stone. Before that, all wood, and have all been replaced at a later date. So we're going to see many different types of building in the castle from all different times. We have buildings that are 900 years old, buildings which are 600 years old, some buildings which are only 200 years old, and the ticket box at the front is only 4 years old. Yeah, horrible piece of modern architecture, terrible. In Scotland we tend to call it a torture chamber, not a ticket box, but that's just us. Now, so there's lots of different ages, lots of different styles that you'll see from different periods. But to get to this point where we're standing now, for you guys, was relatively easy. All you had to do was spend your money, get a ticket, and then boop, in you come, Bob's your uncle, and you can go and enjoy the castle. That was not the case 700 years ago. I can assure you it was much tougher for the English army. They get, mind you, at 17 or 14 pound a head, that might have kept the English out actually. For they had thousands of soldiers, you couldn't afford to pay for them all. But there was, so it was really difficult to get in the castle. To get here, you would have already fought over 2 drawbridges, both which would have had dry ditches underneath. See, when you're at the front and you look over, it never had water in it. We're too high up. It was always dry. The only difference was we had big pointy sticks back then. Because you fall into water, you can get a wee swim, a wash, you can get back out and attack for a second time. If you fall 50 foot and land on a wooden spike, you ain't coming back a second time, you're not going to bother us anymore. It makes pretty sense to me. As you see, the wooden stakes have been removed. This is because the tourists would come up on a Saturday night after drinking the local whiskey, fall over, they come in the morning, and you find a couple of tourists in pails. So for health and safety reasons, they have been removed. Thankfully. Now, there would have also been 6 gates to fight your way through, but only 2 gates have survived. To give you a wee idea of what they would have been like, you've got these ones under here. Now, all the doors in the castle would have been wooden, but would have had metal studs in them. This is because people want to chop them down with axes, swords. The metal studs are going to deflect the blows, make it tougher to chop the door down. But the most important door in any castle is, see the one with the big spikes on it? That's called a portcullis. That means just moving gate, sliding gate. And that's really important because the other doors are really heavy and they take a long time to get closed. Not the portcullis. There's a wee mechanism up above it, and all the guy has to do is see the enemy coming and hit the lever, and that gate comes flying down, stopping any English soldiers or tourists who hadn't paid admission money from getting any further inside the castle. So as you come down later on today and the gate's down, you'll know that somebody's tried to sneak in without buying a ticket. Scotland and England have had peace for 250 years, so it's not going to be a war, it's going to be somebody sneaking in for a ticket. Now, when you came through the gateway, the only way originally to the top of the castle was the staircase. See, it's called the Lang Stairs. The Lang is just the Scottish word for long. So simply called the Long Staircase, or the Long Stairs. It was excellent for defence. See, the knights back then used to all wear armour. and a chainmail. And that weighed about 60 to 70 pounds, or 30 to 35 kilograms. Can you imagine the time you get to 70 stairs? You'd be knackered, no breath left. A little Scotsman pops out, bangs you on the head, Happy New Year, pushes you down the stairs, end of battle. Excellent for defence, but really troublesome for getting supplies inside. Everything's got to be pulled up on ropes. So this is why when they bring cannons to the castle, just over 500 years ago, the king orders a pathway be knocked out so that the horses can take the cannons all the way to the very top. And it's also for the royal family as well. It means they don't have to go up the stairs anymore, as they can get ridden all the way to the top of the castle. So I understand. Now we're going to go up that way now. You may want to come down the stairs later on, because you can pop into the tower called Argyll's Tower. It's called Argyll after a famous Scottish Earl. The Earl of Argyll is the head of the Campbell family, and he rebelled against his rightful king, James VII, and he's also called the Second of England. And for this rebellion, we locked him up here for a night, and then in the morning we chopped his head off. And he never rebelled again. It was a really good cure. He learnt his lesson from that one. So we'll make our way up. 20, what time is it? I think it's 10 to 3 will be the next, yeah, 10 to 3 will be the next one. Really technical stuff this. You can see no expense paid.